afternoon. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, former President Rodrigo Duterte attends a Senate probe into his administration's drug war. Also in today's hearing, Duterte critic Laila de Lima and human rights lawyer Chel Diokno. Vice President Sara Duterte warned of plunder charges in connection with the utilization of her confidential funds. Signal number 1 up in several parts of Luzon as Leon intensifies into a severe tropical storm. And the international community sends help to the Philippines following the devastating aftermath of Tropical Storm Christine. Former President Rodrigo Duterte finally facing lawmakers looking into his bloody war on drugs. After skipping the House's hearing last week, Duterte attends the Senate's own probe, which began this morning. Agatha Gregorio is on the scene as she joins us now for the details. Agatha, what can you tell us so far?
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has begun its probe on the country's war on drugs, and present is no less than former President Rodrigo Duterte. Senator Coco Pimentel earlier said they will look into the battle against drugs, not just during the Duterte administration, but also in the current one under President Bongbong Marcos. In his opening statement, Duterte said he offers no apologies and that he did what he had to do. Duterte added the drug war was not about killing people, but about protecting the defenseless against illegal substances. Before this, Senator Risa Ontiveros delivered her own statement, saying it should not be an honor to be called the Punisher when, quote, thousands of innocent people, including babies, have died in your name. One of Duterte's nicknames, as seen in headlines, is the Punisher. Duterte was also invited to the lower chamber's hearing on the drug war, but his lawyer says he was not feeling well. Also present are former Senator Laila de Lima and Sal Panelo, who served as Duterte's chief presidential legal counsel. Those who were invited but did not attend would be issued a subpoena, and that includes retired Police Colonel Royina Garma, NAPOLCOM Commissioner Edelberto Leonardo, former Customs Intelligence Agent Jimmy Guban, and self-confessed drug lord Kerwin Espinosa. According to the Senate Committee Secretary, Garma and Leonardo weren't able to attend due to medical reasons, while Guban only received the letter today and is under house custody. The committee secretary adds they asked for Espinosa's address from the lower chamber, but there was no reply. Mai?
Agatha, what about Senators Bato de la Rosa and Bongo? They are also accused of being involved in the drug war. What have they said?
Mai de la Rosa said he is at the hearing to tell the truth, adding that he did not attend the House hearing on the drug war because he does not want to be a guest of their, quote, gag show. Meanwhile, Go defended the Duterte presidency, saying they only hope to clean the country of evils such as illegal drugs. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Agatha Gregorio, reporting from the Senate. Keep us posted, Agatha. Vice President Sara Duterte could face plunder charges in connection with the confidential fund expenses worth 112.5 million pesos. House Senior Deputy Speaker Dong Gonzales warns the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability might recommend such charges if Duterte fails to account for the funds. Lawmakers have found one of her close aides at the Education Department withdrew the funds as cash advances in 2023 when Duterte was leading the agency. Gonzales points out the disbursement vouchers were labeled as maintenance and other operating expenses and not confidential funds. He says such mislabeling could indicate a lack of transparency and potential misuse. The lawyer of Pastor Apollo Kiboy of Kingdom of Jesus Christ is optimistic all the charges against his client will be dismissed soon. Attorney Israelito Torreon tells BNC's at the forefront this is based on the dismissal of similar charges filed against Kiboy's followers in the United States. Kiboy is currently facing human trafficking and sexual abuse complaints in Pasig and Quezon City courts.
In the United States of America, the cases filed against his members specifically insofar as human trafficking, forced labor, and money laundering were dismissed against his 4 members already.
4 members, but not against Pastor Kiboy.
But not against Pastor Apollo Kiboy. But the rape case against him was dismissed, and all other cases were initially dismissed in the prosecution's office in Davao City. Only that the complainant filed a petition for review in the Department of Justice.
An update now on the weather. As Leon intensifies into a severe tropical storm, more areas in Luzon are now under signal number 1. These include Batanes, Cagayan, Isabela, Ilocos Norte, Abra, Apayao, and Kalinga. Leon was last spotted 735 kilometers east of Casiguran, Aurora, packing winds of 95 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 115 kilometers per hour. It is forecast to move west-northwest today through tomorrow morning. The storm is not expected to make landfall in the country, but Weather Bureau Pag-asa warns of strong winds. In the U.S. elections, the Trump campaign unleashes yet another wave of attacks against rival Kamala Harris, and his allies are joining. At a rally in New York's Madison Square Garden, some of the speakers used racist and vulgar remarks to warm up the crowd before Trump was set to speak. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, for one, had harsh words for the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico, which the vice president visited on Sunday.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
And today, this is Donald Trump's house, brother. You know something, Trump maniacs? I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here. The only thing I see in here are a bunch of hard-working men and women that are real Americans, brother.
Trump would later tell his supporters that Harris destroyed America.
Next Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've done a terrible job, that crooked Joe Biden has done a terrible job. You've destroyed our country. We're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. Get out. You're fired.
Trump's billionaire backer, Elon Musk, was also present in Madison Square Garden.
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA. Well, the energy in this room is incredible. America's just not just going to be great. America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
While Trump was on the offensive, Kamala Harris campaigned in Philadelphia, where she faced Gen Z and first-time voters.
Is Gen Z in the house? Who's voting for their first time in the first election? All right. Now here's the thing I love about you young leaders. You know, you are rightly impatient for change. You are rightly impatient.
But her remarks were interrupted by a demonstrator holding a Palestinian flag. From energizing the crowd, the focus of the vice president's speech quickly turned to the war in Gaza.
We can and we must seize this opportunity to end this war and bring the hostages home. And I will do everything in my power to meet that end.
In Japan, a setback for Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba as the ruling coalition is certain to lose its parliamentary majority following Sunday's snap elections. With 90% of the seats accounted for, the Liberal Democratic Party and its junior coalition partner had 192 of the 465 seats in the lower house. The biggest winner, the main opposition Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, had 135 seats so far. This would be LDP's worst election result since 2009. It comes as the party faces a funding scandal and criticisms over inflation response. We're taking a break. Up ahead, the Philippines receives international aid as it reels from the devastating aftermath of Tropical Storm Christine. The details when Newsfeed at Noon returns.
And motorcycles inside. Weapons or bladed and sharp objects are prohibited. Alcoholic beverages are also not allowed, as well as PNP deployed 34 personnel and assistance desks have been set up in and out of the cemetery.
You're back on Newsfeed at Noon. The reported casualties in the aftermath of Tropical Cyclone Christine rises, with fatalities now at 116. National disaster officials say 10 deaths have been validated, while injuries reach 109 and missing persons 39. Total damage to infrastructure so far is more than 1.5 billion pesos, while in the agriculture sector, it's over 2.5 billion pesos. Singapore and Malaysia join relief efforts for victims of Tropical Storm Christine here in the Philippines. The two neighbors sent air assets to Manila, which are now being used to deliver humanitarian aid to areas hit hard by the storm. Singapore deployed a C-130 aircraft, while Malaysia sent a military transport helicopter. Defense Secretary Gilbert Chodoro thanked both nations, saying this proves ASEAN members are committed to helping each other during disasters. Brunei, Indonesia, and Taiwan have also pledged to send help to the Philippines. Preparations are underway for the expected influx of visitors to cemeteries for All Saints and All Souls Days in San Juan. More than 30 police personnel have been deployed to provide security. Our reporter, Bea de la Cruz, is on the scene, and she now joins us on the line for details. Bea, go ahead.
My preparations here in San Juan are indeed in full swing, with only a couple days left before Undas. The recent storm did not affect the San Juan Cemetery, and employees are making sure the area is clean and clear of garbage. People can start visiting their deceased loved ones as early as 6 a.m. until midnight. San Juan Mayor Franz Zamora reminds everyone of the rerouting scheme along Boni Serrano Avenue from November 1 to 3 and advises motorists to take alternative routes. San Juan Cemetery will not allow bicycles and motorcycles inside. Weapons or bladed and sharp objects are prohibited. Alcoholic beverages are also not allowed, as well as radios and stereos or other sound systems. PNP deployed 34 personnel and assistance desks have been set up in and out of the cemetery. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you for that report, Bea de la Cruz. Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista urges vehicle makers to help solve Metro Manila's traffic woes. Bautista stresses the need to immediately address the issue. He cites a recent study which pegs the economic cost of heavy traffic in the region at a staggering 3.5 billion pesos per day.
We do not claim exclusive solutions to the traffic problem, which is why we seek Campi to help us and the transport stakeholders. I hope Campi can provide a fresh look at addressing traffic through the eyes of vehicle manufacturers.
Bautista believes the local automotive sector is uniquely positioned to respond to the traffic challenges.
We need a perspective that transcends regulating drivers and the use of land vehicles.
Electric vehicle sales in the Philippines are expected to rise next year. That's as the government boosts efforts to encourage the public to use such vehicles. The details from our motoring correspondent, G. Baroga.
Transportation Chief Jaime Bautista says the Marcos administration is considering expanding incentive packages for electric vehicles or EVs for both manufacturers and users.
The President would like also to study the possibility of extending incentives not only for the whole importation but yung mga spare parts. No? Kasi you can assemble or manufacture electric vehicles here in the Philippines, no? But some parts will be imported, which will be subject to tariff and taxes.
EVs are a top priority for Bautista, who highlighted the increasing number of public utility vehicle drivers and operators making the shift to electric, particularly in rural areas. The DOTR chief was impressed by the EVs on display during the opening of the Philippine International Motor Show.
This is now the direction, no? So that we can contribute to the reduction of emission. No?
Meanwhile, the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, or CAMP, is optimistic about the EV sector's future, with sales expected to rise by at least 10% in 2025.
We have seen the growth in the EV sector. You know, we just last year we already sold about 10,000 units, and we expect to sell more this year. It used to be like few hundreds years ago.
Campi says more Filipinos are embracing EV technology as the next step in automotive innovation. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
We are taking another break. Still to come, we'll give you a look at how local forces continue to enhance their skills as maritime tensions heat up. Catch that on Insight Weekly, up next. You're back on Newsfeed at noon. As Chinese incursions continue in the West Philippine Sea, military drills are no longer just routine, but also necessary. Our Foreign Affairs editor, Jamela Alindogan, joins the Philippine Marines in Palawan, where local leaders are rallying behind the troops on Insight Weekly.
We are here in the town of Aborlan in Palawan province, where we witnessed one of the key highlights of this year's Kamandag exercises. We saw how the Philippines and the United States have been working closely to boost the Philippines' coastal territorial defenses. And we saw that when they showcased amphibious exercises. We saw modern weaponry, a 25mm gun, there were missiles and javelins, and these are all amphibious exercises to target various ranges. All other exercises aim to produce more sophisticated, pro-simulated soldiers with, according to both countries, have the technical skills, awareness, abilities, and communication engagement, including artificial intelligence.
We're able to utilize basically all the the assets, F-35, UE, attack helicopters, the LCACs, the raiding boats that we have.
The Philippines is at the center of a growing security flashpoint, and more than ever, its military considers such exercises like this one not just a priority, but also with utmost urgency. China continues to harass Philippine vessels in the West Philippine Sea, and the Marcos administration believes that it is critical to step up efforts to boost the country's defense capabilities. This year's exercises is wider in location, wider in range of exercises to beef up what they call interoperability among armed forces and to enhance territorial defense capabilities. We've spoken to the mayor of the town here who tell us they welcome the presence of the troops here. They say they better be safe than sorry. Jamala Alindogan, Insight.
Thailand's King marks his 72nd birthday with a royal barge procession. More than 2,000 oarsmen navigated 52 royal barges along the Chao Phraya River in Bangkok. The ceremony resonated with traditional chants honoring the king. Cosplayers take over alleys in France for the annual Paris Games Week. Among this year's costumes, Batman, Deadpool, and characters from manga and action TV series like Full Metal Alchemist and Arcane. Cosplaying is a growing trend in France, with increasing numbers of people trying their hand at crafting costumes. Enthusiasts from all over the country have also been competing in the French Cosplay Cup since 2016. And before we go, dozens of our furry friends show off their spooky Halloween costumes in Hong Kong, from pumpkin witches, dark nuns to zombies. 26 dogs and 14 cats competed for the best dressed title along with their owners. The winner, a standard poodle which resembled a character from the Hong Kong film The Vampire Returns. The poodle and its owner won gifts worth over $2,300. And those are the stories this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. We'll now bring you back to the Senate hearing into the drug war.